Check out ProBoxingSupplies.com, PowerPerformanceProducts.com, and you're watching MMAinterviews.tv.
All right, good morning, everybody. Sorry to keep you waiting. We're very excited to be back here in Australia. I'm going to run over a few things before we get going here. Here in Australia, the live prelims start at 9:30 a.m. on Fuel TV, and the main card starts at 1 on Fox and Fuel TV. In the United States, the live prelims start at 6 on the East Coast, 3 on the West Coast on Fuel TV, and the main card starts at 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock on the West Coast on FX. For the media here today, some of the Aussie fighters that are here today and available to talk to you guys after the press conference: Mark Hunt, James Tahuna, Anthony Perosh, Kyle Noak, and George Soteropoulos. Who has the first question?
Adam Island, Wide World of Sports. First up, just for you, Dana, any update on the TUF series in Australia?
Yeah, we're working on it. I know everybody here, or most of you know, that we're starting next week. The Ultimate Fighter in the United States. Brazil is already is running now, being filmed, I mean. And India, the Philippines, and Australia are all next. It's just a matter of getting the deals done.
Just looking back on the last card, touching on Mark Hunt, great win there. I know you've talked a bit about it. Any idea what's next for him? I know he wanted to be on this card. I saw Velasquez was in town. Did you ask him?
Yeah. You know, again, I can't reiterate how much I respect Mark Hunt and what he's been able to do, you know, on his run here in the UFC, and the fact that he wanted to fight this weekend. But that's not really how it works, and we'll get him back as soon as possible.
Okay, just one more for you, Dana. The two guys, Thiago and Martin, fighting this weekend. Great fight. Where does that sit them? Should either of them get the win? Are they sort of in the mix, as you say?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big fight for both these guys. A great fight, tough fight, and a big win for whichever guy wins it this weekend. Okay,
quick question for Thiago. Can you talk a little bit about, I know you've got a new training regime, you've got a new trainer that lives with you, I believe. Talk a little bit about your sort of transformation over the last couple of years and your refocus for this fight.
Changed a lot of things, you know, in my personal life, and thanks, boss. Changed a lot of things in my personal life and my training camp also. You know, changed a few of my coaches and brought Mike Dochi in since my last fight to do not just nutrition but strength conditioning, and I know that I got their winning formula back again, and I'm very excited to put in a great performance.
Okay, just one more question for Dimitri. How excited are you to fight at your sort of natural weight and to be included in this flyweight tournament?
It means the world. I'm glad that UFC chose me, one of the athletes, to fight in the flyweight division, and I'm looking forward to put on a great show on Saturday night.
All right, thanks.
Adam Thompson from UFC Magazine. Demetrius and Joseph, welcome back to Australia. How have you guys handled that extra drop down? Was it pretty simple for you both? And did you change anything to the way you normally prepare for a fight?
Go ahead, Joseph.
There we go. It's been great for me. You know, we talk about it being my natural weight class. I was always like, that can't be natural. It's going to be pretty tough. But being able to go through a camp at this weight, I really feel, you know, the difference. You know, I've just gained like a certain discipline and focus that I didn't necessarily have to have at 135. So it feels great. You know, I'm faster, better condition, and like I said, the discipline and focus has just really helped me, and it's going to make for a dangerous fighter come Saturday.
Yeah, I have to agree with Joseph. I mean, having a discipline to cut out all the bad stuff in your diet, just eating all organic or natural things from the earth really helps you focus more on training, and you're not carrying that extra weight of 10 pounds, you know, snacking on ice cream and berries at night. So, I mean, I feel good at this weight class, and I can't wait to get in there and do some work.
And Dana, how excited are you about this new flyweight division?
Yeah, it's been a long time coming. We you know, when we first bought this company, we didn't even have a 55-pound division, and as the thing has grown over the last 11 years, we keep adding more and more weight classes. And you know, when we brought the WC over, a lot of people have been waiting for this weight class to come, and everybody knows how exciting the smaller guys are, and it'll be fun to crown, you know, the first champion in the flyweight division. Very excited.
For Thiago, please. Thiago, obviously this is a big fight. But you've had some ups and downs in your career lately, a couple losses. I'm kind of curious where you feel like you're at in your career right now. I mean, are you on the verge of title contention? Are you still on the way up? Are you still a contender? Where do you feel like you're at right now?
I'm in a main event, of a UFC fight, and I'm very blessed to be here. And my focus is, Saturday night, actually Saturday afternoon, put in a great performance. And I think I'm still a top contender, and after this fight, definitely going to solidify that. All right.
And a quick follow-up, so much of the talk, for your last fight for this fight has been about the role of Mike Dolce, but, is it just, nutrition that's been the difference for you, or have there been different physical, mental changes that are kind of in this turnaround for you?
No, Dolce definitely played a big part, and this nil phase in my career, but it was just everything around me, like I said, I changed. I'm still training at America Top Team, but I had a recycle with coaches, I got new coaching staff, and it takes a while for you to get comfortable with them, for them to know you better, and that's where I'm at right now, I'm very confident in everything that I've been doing, and I'm prepared.
And Martin, if I could ask you, please, where do you see this fight? I mean, a lot of people are saying that, maybe this is a title contention type fight. You've had some losses lately too, but obviously really, really, close fights. Where do you see this fight in terms of importance in your career?
Well, I feel some of those losses was kind of BS, but I feel I can beat the best there is in the division. So just make Dana line them up.
What's the focus now? Is it still getting to that title, or is it more just about being a showman?
No, the focus is beating Thiago on Saturday, and then we'll take it from there.
And one final question, if I could, for you, Dana. Can you talk about both these guys, kind of what they mean? They fight in a division where the champs, had it locked up for quite some time, but they've both fought so many fights, and they're both under 30 years old. Can you talk about, maybe kind of where they are and what they mean to the
No, yeah, you're right. And stylistically, this is a fantastic fight. When he said all the BS losses that he's had some real close decisions, where some people thought it went one way and some people thought it went another. And both these guys have fought the absolute best in the world. And this is a very important fight for them on Saturday to keep, moving up the ladder to get another title shot.
Dana.
Yep.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Fantastic to have the 125s here, but personal opinion, big problem with boxing is the sort of saturation of titles. Is that a concern? Is this it though? Are you finalising your divisions here?
Did you ask me if there's a problem with the saturation of titles like boxing here?
No. I'm saying, is that ever a concern?
No, I don't think there's a...
I think that's been one of the strengths.
Well, yeah, one of the things that we do here is, it's all the old school traditional weight classes. All the way up. There's no junior middleweight, no this, that. It's all the traditional weight classes. And it was time for us to get a 125-pound division. Thank God now the sport has got, it's a testament to how big the sport has become, not only in the U.S., but around the rest of the world, that now we're finally able, like I said in the beginning of this thing, we didn't even have a 155-pound division in the beginning, and now the fact that we're, it took 11 years, but now that we're adding a 125-pound division, I don't think it's a bad thing. It's a very positive thing.
Absolutely, and you've seen the guys up here all had success in other weight divisions in UFC, so you're sort of seeing that natural distribution to your guys' weight and seeing how talented you really are. For Ian, just wanted to know, since your WEC run, what do you think, what have you changed, what have you done that you really have grown in your talent? What do you attribute that to? Is it just being at your natural weight?
No, I've changed my life completely. I'm a completely different person than I used to be in WEC, and I mean everything from, the way I eat, the way I do everything, and I'm a family man now. It's just, my life has changed, and I'm more focused on fighting than I was before. Before it was more of a hobby.
Ian, for you again, a lot of the UFC, there's going to be a lot of UFC fans who may not have seen you fight before. Apart from a tremendous moustache, what will you bring to the octagon this weekend?
Just like the other competitors, non-stop pace, very technically sound Muay Thai. They come from a very traditional Muay Thai gym. I get beat up in every aspect of the game on a daily basis by people that are way better. I may be able to put it together in an MMA platform, but when you single things out, it's that kind of training that helps me technically get better and be able to put it all together and hurt people.
Dana, sorry, just another question. When you're returning to these international markets, there's so much hype, we've had so much success here. How hard is it backing it up with a card equal to or just as good when you've had such a successful run at places? Is it a challenge?
Is it a challenge to what? Keep pumping out good cards?
Yeah. As far as like when you're coming back to these international markets.
No. I mean, people talk shit about the cards all the time, if that's what you're asking me. But if you look at the one thing that the UFC is known for is delivering great fights. And that's what we always do. I mean, the last year and a half, every fight has been great, you know, and I know there's been some talk about this card, and, you know, me and all the gentlemen sitting up at this table have had conversations about it, and I guarantee you, this is going to be an amazing card on Saturday, just like every other card we bring all over the world.
This is the third time back in Australia, third time in Sydney. What's the future of the UFC moving forward? I know that Melbourne has always been a hurdle. We've always been so close. I mean, Telstra Stadium would be huge, but there's also rumours about Brisbane and other markets in Australia. So.
Yeah, no, this is a huge market for us. It's become, you know, this place is fantastic. Obviously, just like the rest of the world, in the United States, New York still isn't open. We're going to get that done. We got Toronto done, and the list goes on and on of places that we've knocked down one by one, and we will be everywhere here in Australia eventually too. It's an education process. You know, the reality that our problem in getting up in there is the cage is actually hilarious. The cage is designed for safety. I have a handful of, you know, dozens of cases where I can show you guys falling out of a ring and getting injured. That's why we use a cage. And, you know, once we introduce the Ultimate Fighter here, it's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And
yeah, what do you think they're not getting? Because they've got MMA in Melbourne, but in the ring, but they see something wrong with the cage. I mean, what's their perceptions? The politicians or something?
Yeah, we'll get it done. It's an education process, like I said. Not to mention the fact that when these guys start seeing the 50% of the ticket sales in Sydney weren't from Sydney, you know, there's a huge economic impact too everywhere we go. So if they want us to stay in Sydney and keep, you know, we can do that too.
Dana, going back to 144, heard I think last night that Edgar is still calling for that rematch.
I talked to him on the phone, you know, and I think everybody's pretty clear on what I would like to see him do. I'd like to see him go down to his natural weight at 145 pounds. There's no doubt, again, when you talk about respecting a guy, I have so much respect for Frankie Edgar and what he's been able to do at 155 pounds because he had to, because there wasn't a 145-pound division, and he did it. So now it's just a matter of, I had a good talk with him yesterday. We'll see what happens.
If he drops, will you give him a title shot against Aldo?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
So he walks straight into a title shot.
Walk straight into a title shot, absolutely. Wow. Well, if I'm going to deny him the rematch for a 155-pound title, I'm going to move him to make him move to 145 and say, yeah, you're going to have to fight a couple fights first to get the title.
Okay, good.
That sound right? No.
And just for the Aussie fans, Uncle Creepy, tell us what's behind that. Tell the world why you've got that name.
Look at him.
There we go. Sold.
Bam.
No, I have a friend that his son calls me Uncle Ian, and we were all his. You know, he's a bartender in Las Vegas. My friend Sean Starmer, awesome person, and his son was on his time, you know, because he's a bartender and is up late. So I'm the sober driver guy. I drive everybody home, trying to put his son to bed. And he just wanted to play with a skateboard. He's like, Uncle Creepy, and everyone woke up out of their drunken stupor to hear that. And it's tough, because I personally always thought nicknames are really stupid, especially when you name yourself. You're a douchebag. So, I mean, let's be honest here. You really can't take it serious.
No offense to anybody up here. He was talking about the other fighters in the UFC.
A question for Yasuhiro. This is your chance, I guess, on the big stage in the UFC. Just talk a little bit about how excited you are to come across to the premier mixed martial arts organisation and fight for the title should you get the win on Saturday.
今はすごい興奮してちょっと舞い上がっちゃってます。
At this moment, I'm very excited and I really cannot understand where I am.
A quick one for Ian. Obviously, Ian, you're in a unique position in that not many people are considered #1 in the world when they come into the UFC. So I'm curious how that sits with you. I mean, do you feel like these guys have something to prove against you, or do you feel like you've got something to prove because you're in the UFC now?
In this sport, you always have something to prove. And no matter who you are, you can't be up on your pedestal for too long because someone's always trying to knock you off it. These are all great competitors. You know, I mean, everyone's super good for a reason. Everyone's here for a reason. And I'm just ready to prove my worth.
And he had to give away a championship in Shuto to come to the UFC. Was that a difficult decision, or was it easy to want to be here?
That's a tough one to answer.
即答で UFC に行くって言いました。
I made an immediate decision.
And last question for you. Obviously, he's considered a big underdog. He's not the favorite. Is that difficult? Is it frustrating? Is it motivating for him to be such a big underdog?
ここで試合をするときはあなたはどちらかというと非常に大きなアンダードッグのようなかませ犬側にいると思うんですけれども、そういった状態で戦うことはあなたにとって難しいことですか？
むしろこういう下から上の選手をこうやっぱ倒すのが気持ちいいんで、まあ逆に注目されなくて好都合っていうか、はい、好都合ですね。はい。
I like to fight. I like to perform as an underdog, and I like to beat as a guy who is considered greater than me. So I'm very happy with it.
How do you feel when people say, "Oh, Ian's got a really good chance against you"? Does it excite you, or does it make you think, "Oh, does it worry you at all"?
No, it doesn't bother me. I mean, he's a great fighter, and it's not my job to worry. My job is to go out there and put him away and do my job Saturday night.
Do you have anything you might want to share with us in terms of your tactics for the night? Do you think you're going to be quicker on the feet?
I plead the fifth.
Question, Dana. You touched on this before when Adam asked you the question, but the last 2 events in Sydney have been pretty much instant sellouts here. This card, for whatever reason, hasn't quite had the same attraction. Do you say to fans it's your loss?
Hasn't had quite the same attraction. We sold over 13,000 tickets. We still got till Saturday to sell more, and the gate's over $2.3 million.
So I'm not
yeah, you did. You're wrong.
No. But, last time it sold out in 15 minutes. So,
huh?
Last time it sold out in 15 minutes.
Yeah, but you know, it was the second time we were ever here. That's what happens when you first go into a new market. You go there the first couple times and it's crazy. And for us to come back here the third time, and pull the gate and do what we did on a card that so many people are talking shit about. Well, there's 15,000 people who disagree, and there's going to be millions more around the world watching on television. So
what do you say to those people who didn't jump in straight away? Is it your loss? Or?
Yeah, no. My answer to that is what I always say: if you don't like it, don't watch it. Who the hell told you to watch this card? If you don't like it, don't watch it. But there's 15,000 people who bought tickets, and there's millions of people around the world that will. You don't like this one? Catch the next one. You know what I mean? I always get in this thing where people they want me to go, please, come on, watch this card. If you don't like this card, don't watch it. You know, UFC fans and people who are fight fans, if you like fights, you better watch this card on Saturday night. Morning, or whatever we are here.
Question to Dana. Can you give us a rundown on the sudden death in the flyweight tournament?
And the what?
The flyweight tournament. I was reading that there's a sudden death round if it went to a draw.
So in case there's a draw?
Yes. Is that true?
I'm unaware of this. That we would do a sudden death round if there was a draw? Yeah. News to me, man. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. Let's just hope that doesn't happen. Yeah, a draw would suck.
Any plans on adding the cruiserweight or the super heavyweight division to the UFC?
Never.
Never, ever?
Ever, ever.
Cruiserweight?
Ever, ever, ever.
Like it's, okay. Also, I stumbled upon a book titled King of MMA, which is a biography written by your mother. Have
Yeah.
you read that book? And,
Oh, she's a great lady, isn't she?
What are your thoughts on the author in the book?
I got no thoughts on that. Next question.
Could we get a prediction from each of the fighters on what their results are going to be on Saturday, please?
Want me to answer that question? I think they're going to win. Demetrius, what are you going to win by? Don't say decision.
Classified.
Joma Plata.
Flying triangle.
Gogo Plata.
KO.
Okay.
Sudden death round Mortal Kombat finish.
It's going to be one hell of a fight on Saturday, ladies and gentlemen.
It's just a question for Tiago. With the fight taking place in the afternoon, does that change your pre-fight workout or anything? Do you change your diet? What do you change during the day?
No, we'll make sure to get here, a day earlier than the schedule so we can get adjusted, and it won't be any different.
Hopefully diet. I hope he really worked on his diet for this one.
I got this, boss.
Any more questions? We'll take one more if you got one more, and then we're going to bring it out. Oh, yeah, I'm coming to you guys. Relax. Then we'll go out into the fans and ask them some questions. Media, you got one more? You done with us? All right, over here. Just raise your hand. She'll bring you the mic. And listen, the rules. Yeah, you know the rules, right? No tickets, none of that stuff. I will be tweeting tickets while I'm here, so if you follow me on Twitter, it's coming. Go ahead.
We're the smart guys that bought tickets and fight card.
Love you guys.
Obviously watching a future flyweight champion, so of course it will be there. I've got just two questions. Just how are your thoughts with the 125-pound division in the future? Obviously, one of them is going to be a champion. In terms of the depth in that weight class, are you looking at bringing obviously more guys in there? And I know some of the guys have dropped weight class now. And if Joe Silva and yourselves are looking at bringing more guys,
Yeah, absolutely. And I think as we continue, first of all, it's an incredibly stacked division already with a lot of talent. And as we go into these other countries, into Latin America, into Asia, this is where you're going to see a lot of these guys coming from now. The new talent that's coming up from these different markets will end up being 125-pounders, I'm sure.
And the next thing, a bunch of us guys here are massive diehard fans. We've been to Vegas a bunch of times. It's the best place to watch it.
That's awesome.
We're hoping, I know you've got interviews and stuff after, but to get a pic with you.
Let me tell you what, I will stay here and take a picture with everybody here if that's what you want. Believe me, I'm not going anywhere.
Thanks, man. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure. We appreciate you.
Dana?
Yep. How you doing?
Not too bad. I don't know who's talking crap about the cure because we've come from Ireland to watch it. So I was just wondering when the next time you're going to be back in Ireland is.
I get smashed on Twitter all the time about Ireland. I know you guys. It's you? Yeah, I know. It was such a great show. I say it all the time. Pound for pound, one of the loudest crowds ever. It was 9,000 people there. It sounded like there were 90,000 people. We loved it. We're going to come back. When? I don't know, but we will. As soon as Marshall sets it up. That it?
Hi, Dana. Welcome back to Australia.
Thank you.
A couple of questions, if possible. The Chael Sonnen and Anderson Silva, where's that at the moment? Is that definitely happening?
It's definitely happening. It will happen this summer. Absolutely. 100%.
Second question, if possible. I suppose, how can I word this? One of the things I like about your organisation, I've been watching it since UFC 68, when Randy and Tim fought, and that to me is still probably one of the best main events I've ever seen.
Thank you.
The thing I like is the new fighters coming through, and I really like sort of watching Michael McDonald and Rory McDonald and those guys. How much sort of education that all these guys get when they come through that's a right and it's a privilege to be part of your organisation, but they necessarily won't be there long term, and what sort of education do they get that, that to do the right thing?
I think I understand what you're saying. One of the things that we do every year is we have what's called the Fighter Summit. We bring the fighters in from all over the world, and we go through everything with them, from paying their taxes to, to Twitter to, you name it. And that's pretty much it. This is one of those organizations that, when bad things happen, I talk to guys, and we're a sports organization that's not afraid to, I guess, mingle with the fans. It's what this sport is all about. It's how it was built, and it's how it will remain as long as I'm here anyway. And it is what it is. I mean, I think all of our guys, the policy is use common sense, and the lucky thing about being involved in this business, because I was in boxing for a long time too, is these were all smart guys. Smart guys, they're good guys, and we all make mistakes every once in a while, but
hello, Dana. My question is in reference to saying that I heard a wise man once say, never leave the fight in the hands of the judges.
Right.
And I just had a question. When you have decisions like Bisping, Sonnen, Diaz, Condit, is that something, as in the TUF series, that it would ever be considered in decisions or important fights like that to have a sudden death round?
Well, we do have sudden death now if it goes to a draw on The Ultimate Fighter, but there's always going to be close decisions. And the best example I can give you is normally when there's a bad decision, I'll come out and say that was a bad decision. This guy really won the fight. As in the case last weekend when we gave Muzaki his win bonus. We thought that he got robbed. We gave him his win bonus. But then there's a case where you got Frankie Edgar and Ben Henderson, where it's split down the middle and so many different people think one guy won and the other guy won. That's always going to happen. You're going to have close fights where are considered controversial, where people are split on the decision. And that was one of those fights. Sitting there that night, I thought Frankie Edgar won the fight. Sitting there that night. And then Lorenzo flew back to Las Vegas. He texted me yesterday and said, I rewatched the fight. Ben won the fight. But it doesn't matter what any of us think. It's what the judges give them that night. The judges score the fight. They make the decision. That's it. And like you started this conversation, if you don't want that to happen to you, okay? How many times has it happened to this guy right here where he's been in these close fights? You got to get in there and you got to finish. You got to, you got to finish the fights if you don't want that to happen to you. All right, we'll do one more with the fans. You got one more?
If Frankie gets a rematch, is Gray Maynard still in the mix? And if he is, what do you think about Gray Maynard and Anthony Pettis? Because for me personally, I don't really see Anthony Pettis as good as a lot of people do, and I still think Gray is probably one of the best lightweights there. Well,
we still have Diaz and Miller fighting too on Fox, and that weight division is so stacked, and there's so many guys in line, and I have a lot of different feelings about the rematch. First and foremost, I feel like Frankie Edgar absolutely deserves one, seeing as how every fight this guy's fought, he's given everybody else a rematch. Yet, I don't want him to fight at 155 pounds. I want him to go to 145 and fight for that title. And if we do give him a rematch, it clogs up, there's other guys that are in line waiting, and it's a big mess, man. Controversy sucks. I like fights that are, clean, clear, and we know who won. But I don't know what's going to happen in this situation. Frankie and I are still talking.
Okay, one more, if I can. I saw recently that Jose Aldo's manager, he said something like, if Frankie drops down to 145, he'll lose the only advantage that he has, and that's speed. I was wondering what you think about that. If they were to fight, how do you think the fight would end? Yeah,
I think Jose Aldo's awesome. I think he's, pound for pound, one of the best in the world. So is Frankie Edgar. And there's nothing more fun when guys are both at the same weight and go in there fighting. You can say whatever about Frankie. One thing, this guy's fighting with 55-pounders, guys that are cutting from 70+. And they're always so much bigger than him, and the guy has absolute wars and pulls out decisions that are so controversial, every time. But at 145 pounds, and that's the other thing too, I really respect and like Frankie Edgar as a human being. Take the whole fighting thing out of it. This guy belongs at 145 pounds. When you're a professional fighter, you have a small window of opportunity as it is to compete and be a professional athlete. There's only so many wars you have in you. You can't have this long, amazing career fighting wars all the time. So, I don't know. this whole thing's a nightmare, and we'll see what happens. But I want to thank you all very much, the press, the fans, for coming out today. We're going to get this stuff out of here, and I'll square these guys off for photo ops. Thank you.
Godspeed and party on.